Welcome to the place where we learn about and learn from the leaders in our field who are powering creativity. I'm Aaron Dworkin, and this is Arts Engines. Thanks again for joining me here on Arts Engines. Today's guest is Rachel Thompson, who serves as program manager at the Curb Center for Art Enterprise and Public Policy at Vanderbilt University. Rachel, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Aaron. It's great to be here.
Well, it's so great to be able to talk with you and the Curb Center of Vanderbilt, one of our wonderful creative partners for the show, and where there's some really amazing work. I have had the honor and opportunity to be able to be there, to see it, and participate in a host of different events taking place there, and it really is amazing and extraordinary. And so I thought maybe that might be a good place to start, which is, can you just kind of share with our audience what is the Curb Center, and what is the breadth of the work that it does covering art, enterprise, and public policy?
Absolutely. So, we are an interdisciplinary arts center on Vanderbilt campus, and we are committed to elevating art as a form of inquiry, a way of understanding, and a celebration of the human spirit. What that looks like in practice is we put on programs and exhibitions and events that are relevant to the Vanderbilt community as well as to the broader Nashville community that really encourage them to connect artistic inquiry and practice and thinking with real world issues facing us today. So, for example, right now, our current exhibition is titled Resilience and Adaptation, and that exhibition features the work of 10 Middle Tennessee artists who are tackling the idea of climate change in their work. Many of them are using sustainable materials and methods and practices. Many of them are depicting things that are relevant to this conversation around the climate crisis. So, throughout all of our work, we are really interested in elevating the voices of artists as key contributors to these very pressing local and global conversations on campus and in Nashville.
It's really obviously just tremendous work. And not only, of course, what you're doing at Vanderbilt, but obviously the connection to the broader community, which is so key. And so as you look at this, and I know a lot of times, right, I have these conversations with people working in university environments, and a lot of times, sometimes those environments can be very insular.
Mhm.
And not only that, but within the insular, siloed within the insular. So it
That's
kind of
very true.
and what I love, Curb, really, it seems like is not only breaking down a lot of those just kind of barriers that seem to happen naturally, but building all these bridges.
Mhm.
And so curious kind of how you would tackle curricular ties and connections, and especially when you think about university, museums, galleries, etc., and students, often you might see that siloing. And so
Mhm.
curious, how do you look at that, and how do you look at those, for example, curricular ties?
Absolutely. So, though we aim to be a place where the Nashville community can gather around the arts, we also are a part of Vanderbilt University, and we aim to really be a teaching resource for our faculty and a resource for students, and a place where they can explore their artistic inclinations or think about how the arts can be relevant to what they're interested in studying. For this exhibition in particular, for resilience and adaptation, it's kind of the best of both worlds because we have been able to mount a show by regional artists who are tackling these very local issues of how the climate crisis is showing up in Middle Tennessee. And then we're able to connect that exhibition to students from they may be from Tennessee, they may be from throughout the United States, and they may be from all over the world as well. So we are really excited about the opportunity through curricular engagement, through reaching out to classes, to connect our Vanderbilt student body to the issues that are happening right here in our Nashville community from that local and regional lens. College can be a very transient place, as many of us know, and so we really hope that the Curb Center can be a place where students can connect to what's going on locally. And then equally for our community, we kind of want to be sort of a front porch or a first point of contact that our community has with Vanderbilt University, and doing that through the arts, this thing that really has the potential to bring people together.
Absolutely. And as you kind of do this work, right, which is so critically important, do you kind of are there these kind of more long-term goals? So you might be looking at an immediate project or initiative like, okay, we need to do this, we need to bring these people and we bring them in this space and and this magic will happen.
Mhm.
But then beyond that, kind of, 5 years, 10 years, even 20 years down the road, is there a goal like to say, our students will be more equipped to,
Mhm.
or will this happen as it relates to public policy of, or this will happen in our community or these community members? Just kind of curious, are there long-term outcomes that drive the work and it all frame kind of what you're doing in terms of the details of a particular
Mhm.
initiative to reach those?
Absolutely. One of our biggest goals, and this is a long-term goal, but we would really like to see every undergraduate student at Vanderbilt have a meaningful experience with the arts while they are here. So whether that means taking an intro to studio art class or attending a lecture in the history of art department or going to see a play, the Curb Center is in many ways kind of a driver of artistic activity on campus, and we really hope to see every undergraduate students encountering the arts in some meaningful way. Not all students will become practicing artists. Not all students will dive deep into their own artistic practice, but we strongly believe that having a perspective of artistic inquiry, and a spirit of curiosity and a spirit of critical thinking, can really equip students to go out and be the best versions of themselves when they leave Vanderbilt and go out into the world and hopefully be a more compassionate and well-informed and empathetic and just curious person.
That is so awesome. And just even thinking about the interactions that I have in the world with
Mm.
people in business or people in public policy or government, wherever, that those who seem to have had that connection with the arts, there is a different approach. There are
Mhm.
different goals. There seems to be a greater breadth and depth to which they approach that work, that non, if you will, arts work in a way that incorporates it and incorporates creativity that I think definitely leads to that longer benefit for society.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. Well, this is, of course, tremendous, amazing work that you're doing. But and clearly very fulfilling. And I know it's just an amazing and definitely joyful space to be
Mhm.
in. And so, but there must also be difficult days. So we're almost out of
Mhm.
time, but I always like to ask of all my guests, as you do this work, and there might be these challenging days, as a leader, for
Mm.
yourself, do you have any mechanisms or things that you do that kind of help you through some of the toughest times when it seems like an initiative might not happen, or it
Mm.
just seems everything caving in is too overwhelming?
Absolutely. So I love being a part of arts programs and teaching with art. It really is my vocation and it fulfills me and brings me so much joy. But there is another side to putting on great arts programs, which is the administrative side, which is doing things that aren't always as fun or fulfilling for people like me who really get a lot of joy and excitement out of connecting with people around the arts. So when I get into those places where I am having a difficult time kind of wrapping my head around my workload, I really try to center the art and center students. And so I check in with myself every now and then and say, you work in the arts, but have you been thinking about art? Have you been seeing art? Have you been interacting with artists and with students around these ideas that bring you joy? And so that's something that I try to do for myself is just really maintain that spirit of curiosity. And then when I'm working with students, I try to model that spirit of curiosity and kind of when teaching with a work of art, really model a sense of enthusiasm, a sense of wonder, a sense of just curiosity and excitement about what artists are doing and what we might be able to learn from them.
Rachel Thompson, you truly are one of the arts engines who is powering human creativity in our world. Thank you so much for everything you're doing at Vanderbilt, and thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you, Erin.